my talk today was about the potential benefits of engaging honestly with AI from a theological perspective. I believe that, of course, there are a lot of dangers and a lot of things, a lot of challenges that people need to consider when it comes to AI. But I think there are also some potential beneficial implications. And what I mean by that is that the development of artificial intelligence is a fascinating experiment that is going on under our eyes. And I think that as theologians, we can benefit from watching it unfold. And whether the project of AI succeeds or not in producing truly intelligent computers, I think both outcomes could have momentous implications from a faith perspective. So either we discover that humans are truly irreplicable, and then this idea that humans are distinctive and there is something special about human beings, something that Abrahamic religions have been talking about for centuries, that idea becomes reinforced. Or we discover that, for example, some of our abilities that we used to believe are truly special, like the ability to reason and or to do mathematics or to play strategy games, for example, those things are quite easily replicated in artificial intelligence. So that tells us a little bit about which of our intellectual features are perhaps valuable and other things that we used to neglect historically. Perhaps we might gain a reappreciation for that and for what it means to be human, ultimately. And if the project of AI succeeds, then there's, of course, we're talking about a completely new development in the world. So for me, having intelligent robots is almost akin to encountering extraterrestrial intelligence. So that is something that we can't even conceive how momentous and how important it could be and how much we could learn from such a thing. I think if we manage to endow computers with intelligence, on the way of doing that, we will learn a lot about our own intelligence and cognition and yes, human nature, basically. So AI could be this kind of mirror for that actually tells us more about ourselves. So in all cases, I think theological reflection stands to benefit from observing closely what computer scientists are or are not able to do when programming computers. Yes, so the Turing Test is a methodology developed almost 7 decades ago by computer scientist Alan Turing, which was about whether you could, how could you decide whether a computer program is intelligent or not. And for Turing, the answer was, well, if it can answer intelligently to any question that you can ask it, to the extent that a blind judge could not decide whether they are talking to a human or they are talking to a chatbot, then if the chatbot manages to achieve that kind of performance, then it has reached human level. That was Turing's idea. So then you could think the computer is intelligent and it is thinking. And for decades, computer scientists have struggled with that because it was impossible to program a computer to the extent of being able to, I mean, language has a cascading complexity, and humans somehow learn to do that very early in their lives. But for computers, they were always bound to a certain script, and it was very easy for a human judge to to ask some tricky questions, and immediately the program would give itself away. But nowadays, with the emergence of large language models such as ChatGPT, it seems that the Turing test has been passed by computers. And that is very interesting in itself. But still, what we notice is that people still are hesitant to say that those programs are intelligent. So we are where Turing dreamed we might be, and still we are here, but we are not prepared to admit the computer is intelligent because we know that it is producing the intelligent language that it produces through tricks. So the computer doesn't really understand what it is saying. It is just a statistical method of predicting the next word that happens to produce human-sounding language. So in a sense, our bar is raising for what we consider AI. But now the question is, what next? So now, because the Turing test has become obsolete, we need to devise new ways of evaluating artificial intelligence. To me, that is a very, we are entering into unknown territory, because we will have increasingly intelligent programs that do increasingly mind-blowing stuff, and it will become more and more difficult for us to decide whether is that intelligent or not. And we already had a case where a program started to claim that it is a spiritual person and it is afraid of being unplugged. And some people started to say, oh, it is really a person. This is a real person, and we should protect it, and we should give it rights. So there are very practical questions that we will need to tackle very soon, and there is a lot of confusion. So we need some conceptual clarity about what does it mean to be intelligent? What does it mean to be a person? What kind of entities deserve rights, and what kind of entities should be protected? And we have absolutely no idea how to decide that about these programs. And here I think that theological traditions have something to say. Because of their centuries of reflection upon such questions, I think they could play a very vital role in nowadays discussions. We cannot let computer scientists decide for themselves, because they have no training in this kind of questions. They are very good engineers, but when it comes to questions about human nature, about rights, about personhood, about intelligence, I do not trust them to be able to come up with nuanced answers that would be representative for humanity as a whole. So that's why I think religious traditions, at least for the very reason that they represent a few billions of people on this planet that subscribe to certain worldviews, I think they should be standing at the round table that is where decisions are made about the design of such technologies, and also about the regulations of what we can do with them. I think not. I think not. I mean, if you are a person of faith and you trust that God has created the universe, God has endowed us with certain powers, and to a certain extent, being creators of new things in this world, we are like God in that sense, so we are mirroring God. So perhaps this is what it means to be in the image of God, to be able to co-create with God in the universe. So in that respect, of course, we need discernment about the kind of things that we choose to pursue and the kind of things that we choose that are sinful or dangerous. But just if we look at AI as a tool for cognitive science, so if we look at it as a scientific experiment of what capacities of the human mind can be replicated in a computer and what capacities will always escape the possibility of simulation, I think that in itself is not a threat. It's actually a source for new food for thought in terms of theological reflection. So I think AI already gives us a lot of things to think about theologically, and in the future I expect it to feed us even more, so that perhaps we might, in our own theological discourses, clarify some of our notions that are a little bit ambiguous. Like, for example, I speak from the perspective of theological anthropology, where the notions of the image of God that I mentioned, which is central for for all the Abrahamic religions, that humans are special and they mirror God. We know that, but we do not know what that means exactly. So people are just speculating on that, and there are all kinds of theories of what makes us like God. And I think AI can help us at least eliminate some of the theories. For example, if you think being in the image of God is being intelligent and rational, well, AI has achieved that quite easily. So that might be taken as a clue that this is not what makes us in the image of God. So at least in this sense of narrowing down the field of candidates, at least in that sense, AI can be a source for theological progress, I think. Yes, so my name is Marius Dorobanțu. I am a lecturer at the Free University in Amsterdam. I teach theology and science, and my focus is specifically on artificial intelligence and the challenges and opportunities for theological anthropology and the notion that humans are distinctive and created in the image of God.
Taught Adam all the names tested the angels and their ability to derive those names. They couldn't, but the humans could. So ultimately the human will, over whatever